The war on women's sports continues as the U.S. Second Circuit Court rules to allow biological male athletes to compete against women. The ACLU celebrating the ruling, calling it a critical victory for fairness, equality, and inclusion. Our next guest is a female track runner who lost out in her 55-meter dash qualifier to two male athletes identifying as women. Joining me now, Connecticut student athlete Selina Soule, along with Matt Sharp, senior counsel with the Alliance Defending Freedom. You know, Selina, I want to start with you. You lost the state championship and the New England championship. So when you heard the ACLU say that this was a victory for fairness, equality, and inclusion, what did you think?
I was very hurt by their comments because it is not fair for girls to be forced to compete against biological males. There is nothing that we can do to overcome the biological differences that male have over women. And it was just very heartbreaking because it made me feel like what I went through in high school did not matter.
You know, it takes a lot of guts for a young woman to stand up to a situation like this. And I know a lot of people applaud you for it. But what are your fellow athletes and friends saying who may have thoughts about this? Are they willing to stand up too, or do they want to just stay behind and just deal with it?
Everyone that I have talked to is in agreement with us and they support us, but most are afraid of speaking out. And I tell them that they need to stand up and speak out because it's going to be much easier to fight this issue with the more voices we have. And I have absolutely no regrets by speaking out.
Have you always stood up for what you believe in?
I have. My parents raised me that way, and that's the way that I've always been.
Good. Now, Matt, I've got a question for you. As far as the legal standpoint on this, what's going on with that? And is there anything you can do from a law side that can help people like Selina?
Yeah, so we're currently involved in a legal challenge to the Connecticut policy that allowed these two males to take opportunities away from Selina and other young women in Connecticut. Unfortunately, a federal court has dismissed that lawsuit, finding that the harms that these young women suffered, the loss of championships, the loss of their records, the court just dismissed those. And I think that's a real disservice to women and fairness. And so we're considering all of our options here. But I think the more encouraging thing has been to see the national movement that Selina and the other young women have launched, that we have now 18 states that have enacted laws to protect fairness in women's sports and to make sure that what happened to Selina and the other young women in Connecticut does not happen to young girls in their state.
You know, Selina, I too was a female athlete, so I can feel for you in this story and really all girls who are going through this right now. Did you ever think as a young woman that this would be what you would have to be talking about a couple days before Christmas in, you know, your early life?
I never thought in a million years that this topic would be something that would come up and I would have to fight against. But I have absolutely no regrets, and I know that what I'm standing for is right, and I will continue to do so for as long as it takes.
What did your coaches say about these situations? Did they ever offer you any type of help or make you try and feel better about the situation? What was their thoughts?
They just said that it was unfair, but there wasn't much more beyond that. It was mostly my parents and my friends and family that were encouraging me to speak out and to fight for what's right.
And then, Matt, from the legality standpoint, how many other young women do you foresee coming out and sticking up for themselves like Selina in the future? Because we're hearing more and more of this now. So I feel like people like Selina who stand up for what they believe in, it's just going to kind of fuel the fire for these other young women.
Yeah, it really has. In fact, Alliance Defending Freedom is involved in lawsuits representing other courageous young women like Selina in West Virginia, in Idaho, and in other places across the country. And we've seen more and more voices speaking out, more and more showing up to testify in support of women's sports fields and raising the alarm about the unfairness that's happening when these policies allow men to take away these opportunities for young women. So that's why we're so encouraged to see the movement that Selina and the others have launched with their courageous stands.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt, thanks for being with us. And Selina, thank you for sticking up for what you believe in and keep fighting that good fight for all of those young girls out there, because we need people like you. We appreciate you getting up this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.